Welcome back, Focus Learners. Today, we're jumping right into a brand new explainer, and man, we are unpacking a device that has been making some serious waves in the tech space lately. We're breaking down the newly launched iQOO Z11 Lite 5G. Now look, the budget smartphone market is fiercely competitive, right? But this specific device claims to pack something you usually only see in top-tier flagship models: absolute, uncompromised endurance. So we're going to see exactly how it achieves that and, whether it actually lives up to the hype. Okay, let's dive right into this. Right out of the gate, the absolute core identity of the iQOO Z11 Lite is super clear. It is entirely built around immense battery capacity and crazy fast charging. The tagline here isn't trying to sell you on some weird gimmick. It's focused on purely practical, everyday utility. But of course, a giant battery is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. So let's map out exactly how we're going to break this whole device down today. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. 1. Meet the Z11 Lite. 2. Unstoppable power and battery. 3. Toughness and smart design. And finally, 4. Price and availability. All right, jumping right into segment 1, meet the Z11 Lite. So, you know the classic problem with budget smartphones, right? It's the inevitable compromise. Usually, to get a battery that actually lasts, you gotta settle for a super dim screen, or like a subpar camera. The manufacturer literally has to cut costs somewhere. Well, let's see how iQOO attempts to solve that specific problem right from the second you turn the screen on. We are looking at a 6.74-inch HD LCD panel, but honestly, the specs that really matter for your day-to-day experience are the brightness and the speed. Hitting up to 1200 nits in high brightness mode, that means you are getting crystal clear visibility even when you're checking your phone under harsh, blinding sunlight. Combine that with a buttery smooth 120 Hz refresh rate, and suddenly swiping around the interface doesn't feel like a budget experience at all. It feels incredibly fluid. And hey, that lack of compromise actually extends to the optics too. Here is a feature that completely defies the whole budget label: a 50-megapixel Sony IMX882 primary rear camera. They've also paired this with a secondary sensor and loaded the whole shebang with features like night mode, panorama, and slow motion. Now, I really want you to keep this premium sensor in mind as we continue, because pairing high-end optics with what we're about to see next is exactly what makes this explainer so fascinating. Moving on to segment 2, unstoppable power and battery. 6,500. Wow, that number is just massive. While most phones today hover around the 5,000 milliamp hour mark, the Z11 Lite packs a colossal 6,500 milliamp hour battery. But what's actually in it for you? Well, to put that into perspective, this translates to a staggering 80 hours of continuous music playback on a single charge. Or if you're doom scrolling, that's 20 hours of continuous social media usage. No way you're killing that in a day. It is literally built to entirely eliminate battery anxiety and outlast your longest days. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that this isn't just a gigantic battery. It's a remarkably smart and resilient one. When you do finally manage to run out of juice, the 44-watt flash charge gets you back up to speed rapidly. But crucially, while fast charging usually degrades batteries pretty fast, iQOO promises 5 years of battery health, retaining 80% capacity even after half a decade of use. For a budget buyer who wants to hold on to their phone for years, that longevity, that is a real game changer. All right, let's shift gears to segment 3, toughness and smart design. Because let's be real, internal endurance doesn't mean much if the phone shatters the first time you drop it, or if the software feels super sluggish after just a few months. So the Z11 Lite gives you serious peace of mind on the durability front. It comes officially rated with IP65 dust and water resistance. Basically, this means it's tightly sealed against dust particles and can easily survive water splashes from everyday adventures, or, a sudden rain shower. You really don't have to panic if it gets a little wet. And this brilliantly illustrates that beyond water resistance, this foam is built for drops, bumps, and just the daily hustle. It actually boasts military-grade durability and a Swiss SGS 5-star drop-resistant certification. They even throw an airspring protective case right in the box for you. It is purposefully engineered to survive the inevitable clumsy moments of everyday life. We all have them, right? So let's take a peek under the hood to see what drives this machine. The performance is anchored by the 6nm MediaTek Dimensity 6300 processor. Now, you can configure this with up to 6 GB of physical RAM, but cleverly, it supports up to 6 GB of extended virtual RAM for totally seamless app switching. Paired with up to 256 gigabytes of UFS 2.2 storage, which, by the way, is expandable up to a massive 2 terabytes via microSD, this setup ensures completely lag-free performance for all your daily tasks. But hey, hardware is only half the story. The phone runs on the very modern Android 16 layered with Origin OS 6. And what makes this really exciting are the non-stop intelligence features. AI creation acts as your own smart assistant, helping you write and summarize text incredibly fast, which is absolutely perfect for students or professionals on the go. Then you have AI captions, allowing you to easily record and recap videos. It's practical, everyday AI baked right into a budget-friendly device. Which brings us to our final segment. Segment 4, Price and Availability. So we've seen the bright 120Hz display, the premium 50-megapixel Sony camera, that absolute behemoth of a battery, and the military-grade durability. That brings us to how much this level of endurance is actually going to cost you. Well, here is the final receipt. Through some pretty aggressive launch pricing, the base model with 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage has an effective price of 17,999 rupees. The middle tier with 6 gigs of RAM comes in at 19,999 rupees effectively, and the top tier 256 gigabyte model sits at an effective 22,999 rupees. Now you'll notice I keep saying the word effective. That's because these prices factor in a 1,500 rupee instant discount available on select Axis Bank and SBI card transactions. Overall, it's a very, very aggressive pricing strategy for this kind of hardware. So the crucial point is, if these specs align with what you need, you're going to want to mark your calendars. The sale officially goes live on July 30th at 12 p.m. Indian Standard Time. You can grab one via the iQOO eStore, Amazon, Vivo exclusive stores, and select retail outlets. Oh, and you get a choice between 2 highly textured, inspiring colors, Midnight Blue and the very striking Solar Flame. Which brings us to the ultimate question for today. Is the iQOO Z11 Lite your next daily driver? By combining flagship-level battery life, a premium main camera sensor, and certified physical toughness, all for an effective starting price of under 18,000 rupees, it presents a seriously compelling case for anyone who values endurance over everything else. Analyze those specs against your daily habits, and you might just find your perfect technological match. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Focused learners, keep exploring, keep learning, and I will catch you in the next one.